Okay, so in this video we're going to be modifying and copying an illustration. I've practiced this a couple times and I'm doing this to record it now. This one is going to be a little bit tedious. I warn you up front, so make sure that you bear with me and be flexible because I've messed this up a couple times because what we're doing now is we're modifying an illustration. This illustration basically was created with multiple layers. You might be familiar with creating images using Photoshop or different logo makers like in a video game, where you take various layers and put them on top of each other, and at the end, when you're done with your image, you select all those layers and you group them into one file. Basically, that's what this person did for this file. And what we can do is we can edit different pieces of this illustration to where it matches up with our presentation. So this photo here shows a bike with a little hub wheel, yellow hub here on the wheel. And you can see that this illustration, it was already previously available, but they couldn't have matched this up to how you want it because, again, they don't know what you want, and it's this person you don't know. So you're going to take that illustration and you're going to modify it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to zoom in to, or zoom out 90% so we can see the entire slide here. Now we're going to select our illustration and go to Format. And we're going to go to Group and Ungroup. And it'll come up with this dialog box that says, this is an imported picture, not a group. Do you want to convert it to a Microsoft Office drawing object? We're going to press yes. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to ungroup it now. So now that it's changed to a Microsoft Office drawing object, we're going to go to Format, Group, Ungroup. So now you can see when we do this, you'll see all these little arrows. What that means is there are so many layers that are put into this to where we can edit any of these things here. Okay, so we're going to click an area of the slide that's not there, and you can see we can select all these different layers here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at this illustration, we're going to look at that shirt and be like, no, that doesn't match our description. That's not exactly what we want. So we're going to select this shirt and we're going to change it to yellow. We're going to give him a yellow shirt. That's just going to kind of make it more consistent with our background. Now, if you look at this picture here, we've got a lot of yellow on our bike. So we're going to select the hubcaps here. Is that what they're called on a bike? The hubs, the wheel hubs. Then we're going to change those to yellow. Now, when we create this PowerPoint, we're talking about fitness and training rides. We don't want to make our picture look like he's struggling. He kind of looks like he's struggling with all his sweat and whatnot. We want to make this a very easy, very fun thing to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our sweat here. That's a really weird thing to say. We're going to take our sweat and we're going to zoom in. We're going to hold down the shift key, be very careful with this, and select each individual bead of sweat. So we got 5 layers there. Once we select all 5, we hit delete. So just kind of recap, we selected layers all at the same time by clicking one, holding down the shift key, and selecting the others. Now let's go ahead and zoom back out. And we notice we don't want this background here. So we're going to select this blue background and press delete. So now we've got our overall biker here. Okay, now what you'll see is there's all of these clips here, and we want to be able to just move the photo without messing this up. So while this is a drawing canvas that we can move around, but it's not moving the biker. So we want to make sure we put this all into one object. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to regroup the object. So we're going to reassemble them into a single unit so we can move the objects, little pieces together. If we don't do this, we could accidentally mess up a layer and it would mess up our illustration. So we are going to regroup objects. Now it says position the selection pointer in the lower left corner of the biker illustration and then drag diagonally to the upper right corner of the illustration. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay, so what we did was we went down here, held down the left mouse button, and what we're doing is we are selecting everything, all these little individual layers. Now we're going to take all these individual little layers and we're going to group them back together. So we're going to go to Format, Group, Group. So now we've got our photo here that we can move around. So each of these pieces need to be our group. And I think we have to actually group this again. Yes, we do. Group, group. And now we should be good. Oh, no, it still has that. Oh, well. At least we can still move it around. So that's what we got there. Okay, now we're going to copy a clip from one slide to another. So with the biker illustration on slide 2 selected, we're going to go to Home tab, Copy, and then we're going to put this illustration on slide 1. And then we're going to go to, nope, that didn't work. Okay, hold on a second, let me, bear with me. There we go, select it, copy, paste, there we go. That was a little annoying. All right, so now we are going to put it right here. So it's going to look like he's kind of driving on the outside here. Then we're going to move this to where it makes sense. There we go. Okay, so you just learned how to edit an illustration, ungrouped objects, and then regroup objects. And then we took that same illustration after we regrouped it and moved it to the title slide.